They tell us this never happened. No crash, no bodies, no investigation, just a misunderstanding. But if that's true, why is every single record still classified? Let's rewind in the late 1970s. A remote military radar station, miles from anywhere, picked up something strange. It wasn't fast like a missile. It wasn't random like space debris. This thing slowed down. Then it changed direction. That maneuver alone broke every known rule of physics at the time. Within minutes, the radar screens went dark. Complete signal loss. The technicians assumed it was a system failure. That is, until the ground itself started vibrating. Witnesses, years later, said the sky didn't light up, it bent. Like something incredibly heavy was pushing its way through the very fabric of the atmosphere. Whatever came down, it didn't crash, it landed. And that distinction is critically important because crashes leave chaos, fire, and scattered wreckage. This didn't. Soldiers from the nearby base reached the site first. They were the first human eyes to see it up close in their initial frantic radio calls. They described an object about the size of a small bus. It was perfectly smooth, with no visible seams, no rivets, no markings of any kind. There were no burn marks on the object or the surrounding ground. No debris field. It was just placed there, like it had been gently set down in the middle of the forest. One technician, who managed to get close, later reported that the surface felt warm. Not hot like from re-entry, warm. Like skin. They were immediately ordered not to touch it again. Within an hour, unmarked vehicles arrived. Blacked-out sedans and heavy trucks with no insignia, no license plates, no names. The men who got out weren't in standard military uniforms. They were quiet, professional, and moved with an authority that nobody dared to question. They didn't ask what happened. They told the soldiers what they were going to do. They set up a perimeter, cutting off the original response team from the site. The soldiers who first found the object were ordered back to base, confined to barracks, and told to forget everything they saw. Their initial reports vanished. Their radio logs were wiped clean. It was as if they were never there. Meanwhile, back at the site, the new team went to work. They didn't use cranes or heavy machinery, at least not at first. They used instruments that the base personnel had never seen before, devices that hummed with a low, inaudible frequency, making your teeth ache. They weren't analyzing wreckage, they were studying a complete, intact craft. But here's where the story takes an even stranger turn. One of the men in black, as they were later called, was seen carrying a small, metallic briefcase. A soldier watching from a distance through binoculars saw him approach them. Craft! A section of the smooth, seamless hull seemed to ripple, like heat haze, and an opening appeared. Not a door. An opening. The man stepped inside. And then the opening closed behind him, leaving the surface perfectly smooth once again. Think about that for a second. An object with no visible entry points, made of an unknown material, just opens up for someone who clearly knows exactly what they're doing. This wasn't a first contact scenario. It felt more like a retrieval mission, like they were picking up a package that had gone astray. Hours passed. The sun began to rise. Just before dawn, the object began to emit a low hum. The ground vibrated again, more intensely this time. The soldiers still confined to the barracks could feel it through the concrete floors. There was no blast of engines, no column of fire. The craft simply lifted off the ground, silent and steady. It rose above the trees, hovered for a moment, and then accelerated at a speed that was physically impossible. It didn't fly away. It just wasn't there anymore. It went from a solid object in the sky to nothing in the blink of an eye. When the sun was fully up, the site was empty. The men in black were gone. Their vehicles were gone. The craft was gone. The only thing left behind was a perfectly circular, flattened depression in the forest floor and a lingering, strange metallic smell in the air. Oh, and one other thing. The soil inside the circle was found to be completely sterile. Nothing would grow there for over a decade. The official story? A weather balloon malfunction combined with a faulty radar system. A classic explanation. The ground vibrations were a minor, localized tremor. The witnesses were debriefed, signed non-disclosure agreements that carried terrifying penalties, and were reassigned to different corners of the globe within a week. Their lives were forever changed by a few hours in a dark forest for decades. This story was just a whisper, a legend passed between veterans, but in the late 90s. A few documents were declassified by mistake. They mentioned a recovery of non-terrestrial technology at the exact time and location of the incident. The documents were reclassified within 24 hours, but not before they were copied. They detailed the material composition of the craft, describing an atomic structure that wasn't just unknown. It was thought to be impossible to create. So, where does that leave us? We have multiple eyewitnesses from the military. We have leaked documents that corroborate their story. We have a physical site with measurable anomalies that lasted for years, and we have a government that continues to insist that absolutely nothing happened. They want us to believe it's all a misunderstanding, but the pieces don't fit their narrative. The speed and silence of the craft, its ability to change direction on a dime, the seamless hull that could open on command, the strange men who knew exactly how to operate it. This wasn't a crash. It was a recovery. And it wasn't the first, and it certainly wasn't the last. Every time we get close to the truth, the story changes. The files get reclassified. The witnesses are discredited. But the questions remain. Who were the men in black? Were they government agents or something else? And most importantly, where did that craft go? Did it go back to where it came from? Or did it just go to a different, more secure hangar? A place like Area 51, perhaps? The truth is out there, but it's buried under layers of secrecy and denial. The official story is a house of cards, and it's starting to tremble. What do you think really happened that night? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you want to dive deeper into stories the government doesn't want you to hear, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell